Hello and welcome to the Leverage Podcast. I'm Paul Richard, and we have David Freeman here with us on the podcast today. It's such an honor to have you here, David. I appreciate you being with us.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the invitation.
It's awesome. We had a chance to meet through one of our networking events early on when I first started about a year and a half ago, and we've gotten to know each other a little bit better over that time. And so I'm super excited to have you on today. And eventually we're going to talk about LegalShield and your business today. But I love to start off with a little bit of your background and history. So tell us a little bit about your rich history.
Well, I'm a native of Southwest Missouri here. I grew up just outside of Springfield, Missouri, a little town called Rogersville. Was lucky enough to grow up on a farm that my great-great-grandfather had 100 years before I came around. So that was interesting. Unfortunately, my father passed away when I was 4 years old, but I did get to grow up on the farm, so that was lovely. Graduated fourth in my class at Rogersville and went on to Missouri State University, which was Southwest Missouri State at the time, and spent about a year there and decided that the grass is greener and there was more money to be made on the outside, and promptly got drafted into the military. So that was in 1971, and I went to helicopter maintenance school and then went to Vietnam. So spent almost a year out in Vietnam working on Cobra helicopters. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I've always enjoyed aviation anyway. So not only did I get to work on them, but I got to ride in them occasionally too. So that was a ton of fun. But then again, on the other hand, it was war. So, things go hand in hand. Came back home and finished going to SMS. I didn't finish my bachelor's before I became part of the U.S. Postal Service. I worked as a rural letter carrier here in Southwest Missouri for 35 years. And most of that time, not only was I carrying the mail, but I was a member of the Rural Letter Carriers Association, a union member, if you will. And then I became what's called a union steward. And I served in that position for 15 years on the state level. And for 8 years, I was responsible for the whole state of Missouri, 440 post offices and 3,700 employees. That was quite a job. So I graduated, if you will, or retired from the Postal Service in 2009, and shortly thereafter got involved with LegalShield. And I can't leave out one of the most important parts, two of the most important parts of my life. One is my kids. I have a son that lives in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He's the chief pilot for Quick Trip Corporation. I have a daughter out in Maryland who is retired from the Federal Bureau of Prisons. And then have two more daughters in Florida. One is a school teacher in Jacksonville, and the other one helps run a marina in Pensacola, Florida. So it's terrible to have to go to Florida to see the kids. So, and then on top of that, I can't leave out my wife. She and I have been together for 40 years or so, and she'll smack me if I didn't say that exactly right. But nonetheless, love my life, and she's the one that keeps me on track all the time. So that's a little bit about me.
That's wonderful. And I had the opportunity to meet her Monday night at the boot camp, which was great. Well, I guess I got to hear you guys interact more than anything else.
Yes.
As far
we do that quite frequently.
Yeah. It was fun to do. She kept you on course, and was she giving you hand signals from the back or something?
Mostly, yes.
Okay.
We get this a lot, Yeah.
Let's finish.
Okay. Either hurry up or shut up. One of the two.
That's awesome. And so a couple of questions for you from that background. I love everything I heard. So Rogersville, I've been in Southwest Missouri for 10 years, and, Rogersville is a growing, bustling place now as if nothing else, a bedroom community for Springfield in a big way. Now it's growing. And back when you were uh, growing up back then. What did it look like? What was a
It
situation out there?
was a rural community, if you will. It had all
Yeah.
of 500 people in town, several churches, one grocery store, and at one time we had either 6 or 7 gas stations when U.S. Highway 60 came through town. So there was a lot of traffic through town, so that made commerce pretty good downtown. But then when the highway went south of the Rogersville city limits, the downtown kind of dried up. There's still several businesses down there though. Uh, so now it's about 5 times that size within what we call the city itself, but it's expanded itself all the way out almost to James River now in the city with the city limits, just because, as you said, it's growing like crazy out there. Thanks for
It
asking.
is.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. So you were number 4 in your graduating class. What was the size of your graduating class? Do you want to reveal that? Was it
No,
was it 4.5?
makes it sound better if I just say 4. No, there were 43 people in my graduating class. That's
Okay.
that's kind of ironic because the graduating classes at Rogersville now are 180, 190 kids, and
Yeah.
that's one of the things I'm proud of because I have been the president of the Alumni Association there at Rogersville for about 15 years. So that was always an honor too when we were able to get together and those type of associations are getting a little bit harder to manage, mainly because of uh, social media now and the fact that lives are so busy. But many of us still keep in touch anyway. So
Yeah, that's right. And it's funny because I thought about that when you said you were number 4. My cousin, we used to joke around. One of my cousins, I have 27 cousins. One of my cousins was the state champion, state wrestling champion in the featherweight category in high school. And I used to joke with him. I said, well, you're in Rhode Island, and I wonder how many people are actually wrestling in Rhode Island. Just a joke with him. And and I lived in Nebraska at the time, so he thought, we just had, horse-drawn wagons and stuff up there. So it was funny.
good stuff. Good stuff.
Good stuff. And so I actually went to high school in Millard, Nebraska, which is area outside the west side of Omaha. And my graduating class in 1980 was 762. And I was the youngest, to my knowledge, I was the youngest graduate there because when I had a December birthday, so I was real young. And when my parents put me in school at 4 years old. Oops.
Yep.
And kind of thing. But so are you still with me? I lost a little bit of the video.
Yes,
I don't know why.
I'm still. Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay. There you are. I'm sorry. For some reason, the video did a quick display move on me. So here we go. Anyway, long story short is that was a different era, obviously, for both of us. In your military service, that was fascinating. So you worked on helicopters. Did you always have an acumen for mechanical things, or was it just an interest, or what was that? Tell me about that.
Yes, I've always been interested in mechanical things. I pieced together my first bicycle. I've worked on automobiles all my life. As a matter of fact, right now I'm the president of the Ozark Antique Auto Club here in Southwest Missouri. We got about
Oh, really?
about 50 members in here, and we may say antique, but right now antique is anything that's 25 years old, and those are basically new cars for me. So
Yeah, no kidding, right?
but one of the things I'm really proud of, and or one reason I'm stay involved, is we put together an automotive swap meet in August at the fairgrounds here in Springfield, Missouri, and it's one of the largest attended automotive swap meets in the Midwest. And we make donations because we're a nonprofit organization to uh, Ozark Technical Community College, and we have donated over $200,000 over the last almost 20 years, and have set up scholarships and a foundation grant so that those scholarships will perpetuate and continue to give students in the automotive industry a helping hand and a hand up, if you will.
Sure. So, just for our enlightenment here, I know this may be a little bit granular, but when is that normally held, and
Uh,
when will it be in
It'll be
2026?
in the third weekend of August, and that's, I
Third
believe it
weekend of
starts,
August.
yeah, I believe it starts August the 21st. So
Okay.
it's generally 3 days. 2 days we are really busy, and we advertise 3 days, but Sunday that's a pack up and leave day. But nonetheless, we have vendors coming from 23 states, and occasionally we'll have somebody from Canada, and we have buyers come in from all around the world that stop by and see us, depending on uh, whatever they're looking for. So yeah, it's an
Yeah,
interesting time.
that is really cool. That is really cool. And I actually have a 2-year automotive technology degree from, do you remember, um, McGraw-Hill used to have a school in Chicago, that they did technical training,
Huh.
there. And I went there. I didn't know if I wanted to be a mechanic, but I wanted to have a skill, and then also went to University of Nebraska to get a business degree. So I was like,
Yeah.
we'll see what happens, right? So we
Right.
always
Right.
and that
Doesn't
kind of
hurt to
thing.
have
So
that background, though.
exactly, because those systems don't. I mean, they evolve over time, obviously, and more electronics going into everything, but in that realm. But do you happen to interact with Jim Cope at all
Oh yeah,
over at
yep.
CNC? Yeah.
Jim's a good friend. You bet. You
Yeah,
bet.
you guys are the same age, I think, or at least close.
Really, really close. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, he's a great guy. In fact, I was with him this morning at the SNS
Yeah.
Table Rock, and I think everybody in my neighborhood goes there now after my referrals to
Huh?
him.
Yeah, they do. They do good stuff. You betcha.
They do good stuff, and they're getting ready to open a brand new shop in downtown Old Town Ozark. So that's coming up,
Really?
which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And their tagline, of course, is we work from hay wagons to hot rods, and
Hmm.
so he loves those old cars. So, well, cool. Well, I'm super excited, like I say, to have you on. Let's talk a little bit about your business. All right. So,
Right.
tell us when you got involved with LegalShield after your career in rural poster. I'm going to say it well, postal worker,
I'm a real carrier
and
for the
that.
Postal Service. That's right.
There we go. Thank you for clearing that up for me. My goodness, that was a
Uh,
tongue tie of all time. So, tell us a
yeah.
little bit about how you got into Legal Shield and how that all evolved.
Well, I appreciate that. After I retired, I wasn't really looking for anything, and really don't look for it now. It seems to find me. But one thing that had came about, my wife had been really intent on me uh, getting a last will and testament in place because I didn't have one. She had one for many years before, and I thought about it. And I have some people that I knew that were in the legal industry. But then I heard about a thing called Legal Shield. As a matter of fact, the gentleman that you and I both know, Mr. Kirk Gaddis, happened to hear him talking about it, and so I went to one of the networking meetings that he was running, and heard him talk about it a little more. But when I found out if I became a member that there was no additional charge for the last will and testament for my wife and I was in. I mean, I became a member really quickly, and the more I thought about it, and the more I talked to Kurt about it, since I had a background as a union steward, I dealt with legalese a lot. Contracts and stuff like that don't bother me. Uh, and I knew the lingo, so I thought, well, why not? That would give me a little extra income when I wanted to work, and if I didn't want to work, that was fine too. And we have a lot of folks in Legal Shield that are part-time folks, but my part-time has became like all the time. And anytime I hear somebody that has a legal or an identity theft issue, I'll jump right in the conversation whether I'm invited or not. Unfortunately, sometimes that gets a little tricky. But the amazing thing is with Legal Shield, we're a legal services company. We're not a law firm itself, but we represent some of the best law firms in the United States, and we have a provider law firm in every state that is among the highest rated law firms in the United States. And so that made me feel really good too. So we're not dealing with law firms that have their shingle uh, posted on the corner someplace and hoping somebody will call or stop by. These are all well-established firms. So I don't know where you wanted me to go from there, but I started that down that path anyway.
That's good. That's good. No, that's fantastic. And so I am now a LegalShield client, and
Hmm.
I didn't understand it until I got into networking about a year and a half ago, and started to hear more about it and understand it a little bit better, and realize the risk that I was taking by not having that available to me. And as you probably know, I'm licensed in real estate, so I do have insurance for that, and which is basically, for us is kind of like a malpractice sort of a thing, and in the real estate world. But anyway, long story short is I did get that, and you reminded me just now that I bought the plan that included a setup of a trust, which I need to do and get that going, and
Good.
because they will do a full trust for that, right?
Depending on the plan that you got, but our best plan that's available right now, yes, there is a trust involved. There's a minor fee that goes with that, considering that trusts start out about $2,500 each. But with the plan that you have, it's only a $250 fee for you to get that trust established. So it's a great value for folks that have assets and they want to have them protected. So good idea. Good idea.
Okay, that's fantastic. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, and I may even want to talk to some of my family members about that as well, because they have
Sure.
that same thing. And it's one of those things where you don't know much about it, so you don't, and it's not something that's what would they say, urgent and present at the moment. It's something that when you need it, right? And
Well, and that's exactly right. And you brought up something a while ago uh, about the risk. And yes, there is a
yes,
risk. You know,
yep,
uh, out of every 3 out of every 4 people that you run into every day will have some sort of legal issue that comes up every year, and that they should have talked to an attorney about it. And the problem with that is, if very likely that out of those 3 people, 1 out of 2 of those will actually need an attorney to represent them in court or file something on their behalf in a legal circumstance. And if you go to your friendly neighborhood lawyer, it's going to cost you about $300 an hour. And that's just
yes.
the average here in Southwest Missouri. If you get some of the bigger name lawyers, it's going to cost you multiple times that, depending. So, it's a great access. And the other risk the little factoid for another risk is you're about 5 times as likely to have a legal situation come up as you are to be admitted to the hospital. What? Yeah,
Mm,
yeah.
wow.
And we all want to provide health insurance for ourselves and our families, but the expense for a lawsuit against yourself can be even more than a hospital bill can be, depending on what the circumstance is. So,
Wow. That's a
yeah,
good thing to keep in mind. Obviously builds the urgency
yeah,
of having
yeah,
that done. Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
absolutely, absolutely.
Uh, so how long you been involved with Legal Shield? I don't know if I caught that or not.
I'm in my 15th year as being a
Oh,
legal
no
shield
kidding.
associate. Yeah, yep.
Okay.
I
And
started when the parent company, which is still the parent company, it's called Prepaid Legal Services Incorporated, and our service was called Prepaid Legal at the time. And then shortly, well, even before the end of the year, 2011, they changed it to Legal Shield. So a little easier to remember than prepaid legal, and plus prepaid used to have the common connotation of being cheap and and not being of great value, whereas we like to think that what we offer is probably a greater value than most anything that you can find on the market for taking care of risk. you know we got a lot of risk out there, whether it's health wise, whether
yep.
it is fire, auto, life. there's a lot of risk. Most of us don't think too much about the legal part, though. The unfortunate part is, especially of those, Paul, like you, we're small business people and we all have some education. We think we can take care of those things. That sometimes that works out and sometimes it doesn't. There's an old saying that anybody that tries to represent themselves in a legal situation has a fool for a client.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I understood. I thought I was pretty smart when I took 2 business law classes in college, actually in my summer type classes that I had. And I learned a lot about, that, even though that doesn't cover all the aspects of it, personal as well, but it was fantastic. We had an amazing professor that really brought out the risks and everything.
Yeah.
Actually, the professor, I can't recall his name off the top of my head, yet his daughter had gotten bitten by a dog on her face and got permanently damaged. He actually got a law passed in Nebraska about, dog control and all that kind of stuff. So he was very active on the state level for that. So, yes, the risk is there. Make sure especially if you have a business, but personal as well. We live in a very litigious society, and you can sue for just about anything. And, you got to defend yourself in those cases. So I'm really glad that I've got it there. There's just another level of, peace, I guess you'd say, right?
Exactly. Well, I'm in the same vein. I'm really proud that I've got it. I've made calls to attorneys probably 15 or 16 times. And if I would have paid $300 every time that I would have talked to an attorney, that would have bought my membership for many, 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 many years. So, it's a great value. It's a great value.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And I understand. Well, cool. So isn't it, just to explain a little bit more to the viewers, in LegalShield, so there's basically an attorney assigned to each region, right? That covers that. Is that how that works?
Good question. Good question.
Okay.
Yes, with our what we call our family plans, which that's for most of the people. Each state has what's called a provider law firm, and the company, LegalShield itself, or Prepaid Legal Services, will negotiate with that provider law firm every year. And those provider law firms are paid up front. So what's that mean to you and I as a consumer? We don't have to pay every time we pick up the phone and call the attorney. The great part is we have an app on our phone right now, so all you have to do is pick up the phone, punch a button, and you can get a hold of the law firm. So all of these law firms that LegalShield has negotiated with, by the way, we even have coverage now in the 5 provinces of Canada too. So each one of the states and or provinces have a provider law firm. We have a few in the western part of the United States that one big law firm covers maybe a couple or even 3 states. And also the provider law firm in Washington covers the state of Alaska. So, but nonetheless, we do have provider law firms. And so, therefore, if you're a LegalShield member, you can call a provider law firm in your state to ask questions or take care of business. But the really great part is that if you end up having legal problems in another state, whether it be a traffic ticket or maybe you're having other problems, maybe you've done some commerce and somebody's not paying, or you've got faulty products that you've received, or whatever the case may be, you can call your provider law firm in the state that you live in, and they can refer you to the provider law firm in the state where the problem is at. That's really handy when it comes to speeding tickets, because I've got a bunch of folks that have utilized that quite well. They got a speeding ticket when they're on vacation or whatever, and they call up the law firm. They can't call the law firm in the state where they got the ticket, and it's usually taken care of. And one thing about those provider law firms, they're cognizant of the fact that fines are one thing, but what affects the client even more is the number of points that go against the record for that client. And why? Because if the number of points go up much, your companies can see those points on your record, and that can cause your insurance rate to go up. So they really try to get the points knocked down. The client or the member may be responsible for any court costs and fines if they can't get those things erased. So,
And there's, I guess, the big divisions in the LegalShield world are there's personal and then there's business, correct? Those are the two big categories.
We do have business plans. And actually, we've got a couple other divisions that we don't talk about much, and I'll just hit those briefly. We do have a separate plan just for commercial drivers. It's called our Commercial Driver's License Plan. And of course, we've got over 300,000 drivers out there. Unfortunately, the trucking industry has taken quite a hit since COVID. And some of those some of those companies are shutting down. But ladies and gentlemen, the trucks that go up and down the highway are what brings the goods that make our life enjoyable. Not only the food that we eat, but the clothing we wear and all of our toys and TVs and other things. So we like to, and that's one of my main niches. I enjoy working with those guys. Another one, a specialty plan that we have is for public service workers, whether it's teachers, firemen, police officers. We can protect those folks, and it's got some extra goodies for those guys as well. But of course, a big part of what we do is with small businesses, and we have several plans that can meet the need of a small business. And the great part is you're going to get great advice from some really good law firms about whatever issues that you may have, whether it's just setting up your business, whether it's collections, whether it is things like deliveries that you may be getting, or your shipments that you may be making, and so forth. So, and even more, to extend that a little farther, we have employee benefits for companies that we can help out the employees of those companies and with a legal plan, as well as the identity plan that we offer at a reasonable fee. And it takes the pressure off of the employees if they have a legal issue, because they know all they have to do is pick up the phone, tap an app, and they will get an attorney on the line to take care of those legal issues that can haunt us greatly if we don't have somebody to share that problem with. So we got over 40,000 companies in the United States that offer employee benefits. Well, excuse me, they're in small business plans. I think there are even more companies that have employee benefits that are provided through LegalShield. So, and there's another great thing about LegalShield too that we forget to talk about, and that is something called Member Perks, and that's a discount program. You may have heard of Spot Perks. Well, it's that program, and if you buy it online, it's going to cost you about $20 a month. But anytime you become a LegalShield member at any level, you're going to get access to perk spots, and that's over 450 major commercial and retail vendors that you can get a discount from. And the average family of four can save about $2,500 a year just using those perk spots. And I just recently heard about one of our associates that saved over $10,000 buying a new car. Whoa, that's a pretty good deal.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. You need to look that up, Paul.
Well, I already have it, and if I used all the stuff that I already bought, I would be amazed at what I have, because I subscribe to so many things and then I forget I have it. That's
absolutely.
So you just that was worth the price of admission right now on the podcast, was to have you remind me of that, because I remember him going over that. So
yeah, you betcha. You betcha.
Yeah, I just need. So there's an app, and then walk me through like an example you can think of when you had to call in. Not that you have to give specifics yet. How does the process work?
Very good question. Very good question. Well, we'll provide you with a 1-800 number for the provider law firm in the state that you're residing in. But if you have the app on your phone, then you're automatically linked to that law firm. So if you pull up your phone, open up the LegalShield app, it's going to have request a consultation on there. And also down at the bottom of that page, it has a red button that says something like emergency. So evening,
Oh,
nights, weekends, holidays, if you are involved in an accident or you're being issued a warrant or being detained by law enforcement, you can tap that app and get a hold of somebody. Also, if somebody's at your door wanting to take children out of your home, whether it be the sheriff or the Division of Family Services, they encourage you to tap that app and call them evening, nights, weekends, holidays. During the week, they're going to answer the phone from during normal business hours, 8 to 5 every day, and they keep answering the phones till they get all of the Legal Shield members taken care of each day. I've gotten phone calls at 6 o'clock at night because they've been busy. But when you tap the app or you call the 800 number, they will want to know, they'll pick up your member number from the app, or they'll ask you what your name and your member number is if you call the 800 number. And the paralegal, or whomever answers the phone will ask you what your question is. You briefly describe what you're going to talk to them about. Excuse me. And then that person will say, an attorney will contact you normally within 4 hours. I've never had to wait more than 45 minutes for the attorneys to call me back. So that's
wow.
a
Yeah.
great testimony within itself. So
Yes.
normally, depending on what your question or your issue is, that attorney's going to have some idea of what to talk to you about when they do call you back. And another great thing that we just instituted in the last couple of years, if you're a busy person, like a guy that I know by the name of Paul Richard, because he's doing a lot of podcasts today, if he needs to
Yes.
talk to an attorney, he can set an appointment on a date and a time when he knows that he'll be available, and the attorneys will try to get back with him at that date and time. So that makes it
Nice.
much more customer friendly that way. So then you can talk to him about whatever the issue is. You can talk to him as much as you want. If you ask the same question too many times, they're probably going to cut you off. But you have unlimited access to the attorneys for an unlimited number of issues. So
Very good. Very good. Well, this has been certainly educational. Is there anything else that we left off? I know there's a lot more things, but is anything that you'd like to share in addition about Legal Shield?
oh no, but thank you for asking. We'd love to help anybody at any time, and I'm always online. I have an e-commerce site with Legal Shield, and it's usually just Legal Shield and my name and associate at the end of it.com, and you can get a hold of me or just look me up on Google because I'm there too. So, but beyond that, Paul, I want to thank you very much for the opportunity to talk to you about my life and then about Legal Shield also. So,
Yes, sir.
thank you.
This is great. So yes, I'll look forward to that, and I'll be visiting soon with you guys at the Navy Ship networking group very soon.
Yep.
So I'll look forward to seeing you there again.
Yep.
All right. Well, thanks for being on the podcast today again. I really appreciate you, David. Take care now.
All right. You too, Paul. Goodbye.